These were the bridges used to land the tanks onto the beach, and plus the troops and other large vehicles as well. Let's go and have a look at this. And you can see just over there, there's a line of them all going across all the way over to the cliffs. And when the tide comes in here, there's no beach, and so you can't see these. Luckily enough, we're here during low tide. And number 449. Fixings that were used to lash them together to make one continual bridge. And this is the Mulberry Harbour bridges, which were made to transport goods ashore, bringing tanks, weapons and anything else they needed. And the Bailey bridges were the metal truss bridges. These are the Mulberry Harbour pontoons, I suppose is the correct word. And have a closer look, they're concrete with a metal frame. And you can see a lot of the metal is still there. And you can see the metal frames inside. And they're covered with concrete. And in front of us there is one of the metal girder Bailey bridges, still here. Let's go and take a closer look at this Bailey Bridge. I'll just read some of this to you. And we have Czech Army here as well. I'll read one of the memorials to you. In memory of merchant navy seamen who lost their lives in the naval Operation Neptune, June 6th to September 1944. They manned the merchant ships that provided the supply line for the armies, a prime target in Operation Overlord. The Normandy landings, the first phase in the liberation of Europe. Also in memory of the merchant navy seamen from 1939 to 1945 who lost their lives in the European coastal waters until Europe was finally liberated in May 1945. And here's a passage. Look out to sea and say a prayer for those who rest beneath. They gave their lives that you may share a Europe that is free. Donald Hunter, 2003. This memorial was erected by the Normandy Merchant Navy Memorial Fund. And I'll read this one to you as well. We have two crossed swords and what appears to be a serpent of some description. Here in Arromanches from the 6th of June 1944, close behind the assault troops, a great floating harbour, codenamed Mulberry B, was assembled and operated by men of the Royal Engineers Transport under the command of Brigadier A.E.M. Water CBE Royal Engineers. The concept of the floating harbour, inspired personally by Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain, stimulated the design and construction of the Mulberry Harbours by engineering companies, large and small, throughout the United Kingdom. After marshalling in the mid-channel by the Royal Navy and Merchant Navy, Mulberry B was towed to the Normandy beach. Having survived the Great Storm of the 19th to the 23rd of June, Mulberry B remained the major supply port to the Allied armies until the port of Antwerp was reopened on the 28th of November 1944, thus far exceeding its planned life. Without Mulberry B, the liberation of Europe would not have been possible. The deeds of those who created, launched and planted Mulberry B remain surpassed in their annals of British military engineering. This monument also commemorates the participation throughout the European theatre of operations of beachport, railway, inland water transport and movement control units of the Royal Engineers. And I'll just read this bottom bit to you. Monument unveiled by the Lady Soames, DBE, daughter of Sir Winston Churchill, KG, OM, CH, 6th of June, 2000. And let's remember this, lest we forget: Gold Beach, Arromanches, Sword Beach, Liberation, Mulberry Harbour and D-Day, 1939 to 1944. And on the other side of the bench it says Operation Overlord, British Tommy, Operation Neptune, 6th of June 1944, and also Pegasus Bridge. And we're taking another look at this. You can see the Bailey Bridges here stretching out to sea, and you can see the Mulberry Bridges here, and you can see Red Cross vehicles, cranes, amphibious landing vehicles, tanks, jeeps, bulldozers, the houses of Arromanches, and the Bailey bridges with lorries crossing with supplies. And in the distance, I don't know if you can make this out, but you can see a field of ships. And over in the corner, what appears to be a Lancaster bomber, and also no airships as well, which stopped any aircraft intruding over here. And then we have a tank, a motorbike, and we have the amphibious landing crafts, and you can see the troops pouring off and coming up the beach. And this is one of the Bailey bridges. And as you can see, it still has a tractor unit, which is original and is sat on top the Bailey Bridge. If I read this to you, designed by Alan Beckett, it was a component of a floating roadway which connected the loading piers to the shore. This span is 80 foot long and weighs 28 tons. The floating roadways rested on steel or concrete floats. A few concrete floats can still be seen on the beach. And you can see the concrete floats there. There's a multitude of plaques around here. I can't obviously read them all to you, but I will read this one to you. In 1942, Winston Churchill raised the problem of anchoring the piers of the future artificial harbour at Arromanches. The harbour problem must be mastered, he said. Major Beckett solved the problem by designing the floating roadways, their piers and the kite anchors, which enabled the harbour to survive the storm of 13th to the 18th of June 1944 and to become the key to victory in Normandy. This area honours Alan Beckett's memory. His engineering skill made the Mulberry Harbour project a success.
Il faudra bien la mettre juste au-dessus des oreilles, à l'aide des branches. Voilà, c'est ça. L'un de vous va devoir présenter les coups sur le pylône à droite, au bout d'un portail. Ensuite, au bout à gauche, toilette et vestiaire. À droite, la salle.